What's up, guys? Stellar Crystal here for another Elestrals video, and today we're going to go through Firestorm in its entirety. We do have still a couple more videos that are going to be posted. Officially, the next mirror line being showcased, which should be today. Today is Wednesday the 26th, and then there's two full arts that haven't been announced yet. So the full arts aren't a big deal. We'll go over the ones that are already have been shown, but we're able to officially go through every single card that's in the next set. I know I haven't finished uploading my reaction videos because of Dallas and because of work and everything. That's going to be null and void at this point. I do apologize, but this will end our little mini series on the 25 days of Firestorm. So starting off, we're just going to go in straight order, guys. We're not going to go jump around or anything. Terratless. If you guys do notice, if you can see my mouse in the background, you actually can see the Earth insignia right back here, or what seems to be like the start of it. But you have him, looks like he's just hanging out in a cave. He's got the little stream going, so that's really cool. I do love all these arts. Floor Mine, I'm going to say outright, and even though I'm wearing a Lunar Caster shirt, and even though you guys know I'm a Thunder Caster by trade, the Floor Mine's my favorite one. So let's just continue. Next one, we do have Fire. He's kind of just hanging out by the lava. Looks like taking a little nap. We're getting a little lava bath, lava shower. And shout out to the Elite Four for drawing all these too. You also do have the Leviathan, and you can see right here also you can see the water insignia right there on the stone tablets. We got Zaptor. So this gives me big Charmander vibes. If you guys remember in the first season of Pokemon, the Indigo League I think it's called. Charmander's tail, when it's raining, it gets smaller, but here Zaptor's sleeping in the rain, his tail is freaking huge. Lycoris. So the cool thing about this art, if you guys look at, I think it's Island of Aloia, the initial art for it, the very front of it shows Lycoris overlooking the island. So this one, a lot of people pointed out, is the exact opposite. You're looking at Lycoris, who is looking at the island. So that's kind of cool that they mirrored those arts. We have ourselves Floor Mine. Like I said, for me, I don't know why. I just think this one's gorgeous. This is my favorite one. He's just sitting on top of the mountain. I'm going to guess behind him that might be the mountains of Boreas. But he's just sitting there chilling. Looks like it's sunrise starting. So it looks like he's just waking up, getting ready to start his day. Luminape sitting in a tree, so that's not bad. You can see two casters over here, so he could be bonded to one of them, and they're taking a nap, and he's just on lookout. And we do have Aloon, and they got the little dream catcher above him while he's sleeping. He's just kind of hanging out too. He's taking a little nap, watching over his caster. That being said, let's go into the Elestrals. Let's go into the combos. Let's go into all the crazy shenanigans that Firestorm's going to bring us. First up is Pandison, Champion of Demeter. Also shout out to Elestrals Set 5, introducing Pokemon Trainer style cards. I'm all for it. So 2-4, the original Pandison was a 1-4, so already has better stats. You can return up to 2 Earth from your Underworld to your Spirit deck if your Demeter is enchanted. Keep in mind, that is every single turn that you can do that. If you're going to go ahead and ascend this guy, if you're just keeping him out on the field so you can ascend the next turn, make sure you heal if Demeter is out. Take advantage of that effect. Next up, we have Verdalith, Champion of Demeter. It's a 2-6. The regular Verdalith is a 3-7, so it's a little bit weaker, but much better effect. When this Verdalith can be normal cast with 2 Earth if your Demeter is enchanted. So cast Demeter, turn 1, go ahead and bring this guy out. When you target this Verdalith with Demeter's effect, you can special cast a 1 Earth Spirit Celestial from your hand. This effect can be activated only once per turn. So again, if you happen to have 2 Verdalith and you have 2 Demeters, you can technically do it twice in 1 turn. But that's a really cool combo if you want to start trying to flood the field. One thing we are going to notice with this set, it is a lot of flooding the field, getting more bodies out on field. So again, you're going to play this guy in defense for 6 defense, very strong. You can go ahead and activate Demeter, enchant this guy, and then go ahead and bring something else out. If you're doing Nexus shenanigans, for instance, you're going to see Titanostalk has a Nexus effect that could be paired with this technically. It really depends on what you're doing. I mean, the first thing I kind of think of is Equal Links. Go ahead and play Verdalith, play Equal Links, go ahead and do some Nexus shenanigans, pop a face down. Another way to do it is if you're doing artifacts, you can use this for Sprouter. You can use this for Viscerus. Put a big defense body on field and then bring an attacker out. So it's a number of ways you can do this. The only thing, like I said, you got to remember it's a 1-cost Spirit Celestial. So you can't play this, enchant it, and then bring out Centaur. That's just not happening. Titanostock, actually back up though. What you could do technically, your turn starts, you could use that effect. You use the meter, power up your Vertilith, bring something out, and then you can ascend into, say, Centaur, siphoning from both, which would be 4 spirits, immediately activating Centaur's effect to pop. We have Titanostock, champion of Aeolus, which I do think is kind of funny that Aeolus is going to have Earth Elestrals as well. But 2/5, so it's bunny stats, which feels great. You can Nexus Earth or Wind. When you do, you can enchant Wind to your field. So again, you're not going to really use this in an Earth deck, minus the Nexusing. If you have a bunch of receivers, then that's going to be really good with this. But this is going to be more, as you can kind of see on the screen right there, you can see Verituka. That's going to partner up great with Verituka and Pegas, given there's those spirits. With Pegas, you're going to pop a card on field. And with Verituka, when it attacks, if it has equal or more spirits than the Elestral it's attacking, it pops that card. So very good to have in that scenario. Spineth, champion of Hermes. When you cast the Spineth, you can search your deck for a Hermes and add it to your hand. You can disenchant Wind from this Spineth in order to special ascend it to Spinosect from your hand or deck. So again, you're going to need to use Nexus Shenanigans to pull that off or re-enchant. The one thing I want to point out, and you're going to see this a lot with this set in particular and these titles, it says Spinosect. It doesn't say what Spinosect it is. So the next card we're going to go over is the new Spinosect. But the old one is a 1/9 that it's basically total defense Shogun for all the Yu-Gi-Oh players out there. It can attack while it's in defense position, and it has a 9 defense, so you're going to use those stats. One thing that we do know with that, though, is if you Gorgon's Gaze it during battle, it's now attacking with a 1. So just keep that in mind. There was at one point everyone thought Spinosect would be broken, but that has been proven false, sadly. Spinosect, champion of Hermes, 5/7, so much better stats than the normal Spinosect. It is a Earth Wind. When you cast this Spinosect, you can return the Celestial to its owner's hand. Doesn't matter who it is, yours or theirs. If they have, say, Poison Tunic played on one of your Elestrals, you can go ahead and bring it back. If they have Pantera or Lava Lith, Coastal Lith for all that matters, you can go ahead and send that stuff back. When the Spinosect is sent from your field or deck to your underworld, you can Nexus up to 2 Wind. So again, Hermes' effect is to take a card and to toss it in the underworld. So in that scenario, when you do that, you can now Nexus those Wind Spirits, say to Pegas that's on field, or even Nemisil if you wanted to heal. Drataya escaped from Tartarus. Wirtz, your boy is back. I do like these Tartarus arts that you see all the hands trying to get, catch them. So 2/4, it's the same exact stats that it was before. You can discard an Ambrosia or Golden Apple in order to draw 2 cards. So effects can only happen once per turn. So that was the big nerf. The second nerf was when you play it. So the original Drataya, every time you played Golden Apple, every time you played Ambrosia, you got to heal. So they kind of nerfed it, but then they tossed in the Golden Apple. So you could still run Fruit. It's not going to be as good as it used to be, but at least that archetype is back to play. We have the new Viserys. So before we even get into it, Chris, Viserys is limited to 2 per deck. True, base set Viserys is limited to 2 per deck. This has a brand new effect. So you can go back to having 3 Viseryses on field. It just depends on which way you want to do it. Everyone I've talked to is 1 base set, 2 Frostfall. So this one has a really cool effect. Now it does have 1 weaker defense, but again, a 1 defense, 2 defense. Everything's getting over it. This Viserys gets +1 attack for each Viserys on field. Same exact as the other one. The new effect. While there's another Viserys on your field, this Viserys is unaffected by your opponent's counter runes. It's attacking and it's going in. You're connecting with this card. The downside is this is going to be a target for everybody. The second this thing hits on field, they're going to be going after this thing hardcore. Now, the best part is again, when you have the normal Viserys out, the base set, and you summon this, they can't PTA it, they can't Gorgon's Gaze it, so you're good to go. You just need to be able to protect both of them. That's going to be a scenario for your shield. That's going to be a scenario for your Tsunami, your Gorgon's Gaze. When you're going to get ready to play this card, it needs protection. If you protect it, it is going to do some damage for you. We got the new Panzer. Shout out to PK. 3/4, so it has 1 higher defense than the normal one. When you cast this Panzer, you can enchant a number of Earth to this Panzer up to the number of Elestrals on your opponent's field. They got 3 Elestrals. You're going to go ahead and add 3 more spirits to it. When this Panzer is destroyed in battle, you can draw a card for each enchanting spirit on it. So again, that's really cool. You can heal basically up to 4 or 5 in the big scenario. Or if you're doing Nexus Shenanigans, same thing. One combo I want to point out, there is an Elestral from Frostfall that as far as I know, has never seen play that could partner with this, and that's Cypron, I believe it is. It's Cypron or Cypermel. I'll put it up on screen so you guys can see it. But anyway, it says that while it's in attack position, whenever an Earth Elestral is destroyed in battle, you can go ahead and instead of those spirits going to the underworld, you're going to heal those spirits. So a good combo would be to have that Cypron on field, have Panzer out. You can use Panzer as a sacrificial lamb, let it get destroyed. Not only are you going to draw X amount of cards for the spirits on this Panzer, but because of Cypron's effect, you're actually going to heal those spirits back. So you did lose the Panzer, but you gained 3 to 4 cards, and you're getting those spirits back. So, I mean, for me, it feels like a good exchange. It just depends on what style of deck you're going to run. That's a very good combo to search your deck for your ace. You know what I mean? If you're running a card I want to start playing soon as Neandersloth. If you're running Neandersloth, if you're running Centaur, Kreisbohr, whatever it is your 2-drop is or your big guy is that you need, this is going to help you search your deck for it. Rumicole, Champion of Hephaestus. 3-2. I believe the other one's a 2-2, so 1 higher attack. When you cast this Rumicole, you can return an artifact from your underworld to your hand. Very nice. Artifact wars are going to go hard. Me personally, I can't wait to see what Bo does, our now Elestrals champion. As someone who lost to him in that tournament, using artifacts, it's going to pop off here. But you grab an artifact from Underworld, add to your hand. This Rumicole gets +1 attack for each enchanting artifact on the field. So, again, if you go ahead and equip this thing with a Necklace of Harmonia, it's going to +5, bump it up to 8, +1, up to a 9, so on and so forth. You can go the defensive route. You can give it Scythe of Demeter. Give it 3 defense, and now you're going to go ahead and add an additional attack to it. Golden Fleece, whatever you guys wanted to do, whatever scenario you guys were trying to do. There is a new artifact we'll go over later in this video. It's called Torch of Hestia. I love that card. I cannot wait to play that card. You have the new Ascension Scavicole, Champion of Hephaestus, 6/6, so very good stats. This Scavicole in your hand can special ascend from your Fire Elestral if you have at least 2 enchanting artifacts on field. So it doesn't have to be the prior Ascension. It can be anything, any Fire Elestral. Artifacts that were empowering that Elestral start empowering this Scavicole instead of being sent to the Underworld. We've been needing that combo, that type of card, forever, and now we finally have it. I'll go complete aggro on this one. Say you have your Rumicole out and you have 2 Necklace of Harmonia, which I know not going to be a scenario, but just bear with me for this. It's going to give it +10 attack. Go ahead and special ascend the Scavicole to it. Now the Scavicole is going to be a 16 attack. It will get over your opponent's Pantera. It will get over the defense of Centaur. Valkyrie's Champion of Hephaestus. This is the Firecaster's favorite card. By far their favorite card. When you cast this Valkyries, you can search your deck for Hephaestus and add it to your hand. The one thing I do also like about this set is almost every single element, by the end of this set and maybe the next set, every element is going to have a Divine Searcher for their element. No longer are you guys going to have to try to side in your Elechics or tech in your Elechics. Valkyries is going to be your Elechic with a better defense. Add to your hand. While Hephaestus is enchanted, you may also use fire from your underworld to play your artifacts. Free artifact runes, guys. Free artifacts. So hear me out. You can go ahead and play Torch of Hestia from your underworld, okay? Or you're going to play Torch of Hestia, you're going to use a spirit from underworld. You can go ahead and now use that spirit to play your Ambrosia. Now you're healing 3 free of charge. Multiple scenarios to follow if you're going to go more attack, if you're going to go defensive, whatever you guys were going to do. This is very good. I like it. And same thing, even Poison Tunic, if you want to go that route. You can go ahead and play Poison Tunic, lower your opponent's Celestial using Spirits from Underworld. When it gets destroyed, they're burning too. Again, it's a free card. We have Earth Scout, Champion of Hestia. The Bears are back. You can special cast this Earth Scout for when you special cast this Earth Scout, you can search your deck for a Champion of Hestia and add it to your hand. You'll see why that's prominent when we get to Hestia. But again, the fact that you can special cast this and then go ahead and grab a card from your deck is great. And it just says Champion of Hestia. It does not matter what the cost is for that card. That being said, Majursa is a 3 cost and it is Champion of Hestia. 8/13. So it is semi-weaker. The other one's a 12/12. Excuse me, but this one does have an awesome effect. When you cast this Majursa, you can target and destroy cards up to the number of bear elestrals on your field. So if you're able to have 2 to 3 bear elestrals, if you're able to get this thing out afterwards, you're going to go ahead and destroy 4 cards technically, because it's going to count itself in that scenario. Your Ursa or Elestrals get +1 attack for each fire enchanting each Hestia on your field. So again, most of the time you're only going to have 1 Hestia, 2 to 3 spirits on it, so everything is going to get +3. Feels great. That'll bump this guy up to an 11 attack. So again, it's going to hit over most things you're going to be going up against. Wormite, Champion of Hestia. Shout out to Dan for playing the Spider deck this past weekend in Dallas. You really got to see how good this card can do. So 3 attack, 1 defense, same stats as the other Wormite. When this Wormite receives 1 or more fire, you can target an Celestial and give it -3 attack until the next turn. When a player casts Hestia's Hearth, you can return up to 2 fire spirits from your underworld to your spirit deck. Hestia's Hearth, we'll go over that later on. It has to do with enchanting fire to field. So you're able to use this effect multiple times in 1 turn. Then you got Floracne, Champion of Hestia, the Ascension, 5/7. I can't remember the other Floracne. I think it's a 4/8, so a little bit different. But you can disenchant fire from your Hestia to search your deck for Narachne's Lair and add it to your hand. During each end phase, an opponent must expend 1 spear equal to the number of Elestrals on their field if Narachne's Lair is enchanted. Again, we'll get into Arachne's Lair later on, but again, if you have that on field, which it is a stadium rune, if you do have that out and your opponent has multiple Elestrals, they're burning every single turn. If you're able to stop those attacks, again, you have Floracne here that has 7 defense. If you're able to make it so your opponent can't attack, they're going to burn spirits every turn. There's nothing they're going to be able to do to stop you. They're going to have to bring out Elestrals to beat you. If they can't beat over you, it's just going to hurt them in the long run. Not to mention if you're going to be attacking into them on your turn. Then we have Infurix, Champion of Hestia. 3/4, the other one's a 3/3, so not too bad. You can disenchant fire from your Hestia in order to add a 1 spirit fire Elestral from your underworld to your hand. So again, you're going to recycle the underworld. When you ascend this Infurix during your end phase, you can special cast it from your underworld with fire. So the cool thing about this is you're going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up Cat Perfume because I do think Cat Perfume is going to get much better in this next set. You're going to have your Infurix out. You're going to send it into Cat Perfume. At the end of the turn, you're going to go ahead and bring Infurix back. The next turn, if you had another Ascension in hand, ascend it again. Bring it back at the end of the turn. So on and so forth. Again, one theme for this Firestorm set is flooding the field with Elestrals. Torchin, Champion of Hestia, and this boy is happy. It is a 1/1 just like the regular Torchin. When you cast this Torchin, you can search your deck for a Hestia or a Torch of Hestia and add to your hand. You can Nexus 1 fire. So the cool thing about this is you're going to do a bunch of Nexus shenanigans. If you had the other Torchin out, whenever it declares an attack, you heal fire equal to the number of fire spirits on your field. So that's going to be really good. Again, Torch of Hestia, when we get to it, I love that card. That's probably my favorite card in this entire set. Or Hestia in general. Again, fire just has, now Hestia has her own searcher as well. So you have Valkyries for the Hephaestus, Torchin for the Hestia. Ignector. So again, not a titled card, so you can only run up to 3, and you do see Demeter collecting Nectar of the Gods. When you cast this Ignector, you can search your deck for Nectar of Gods and add to your hand. Just simple draw power. A good combo with this one would be if you had the normal Ignector from base set, play that one, which lets you play any number of Nectars from your deck to the field. You can go ahead and bring out the other 2, grab your 2 Nectar of the Gods, go ahead. It's going to cost you 4 spirits to play both the cards, but draw 4 because of that. Wasp Spire. This is a 6/1. The other Wasp Spire is a 6/2. You can discard a fire card to force an opponent to expend 1 spirit equal to the enchantment cost of the discarded card. So again, my thought would be discard Trifernal. They burn 3. Discard Eruption. They burn 2. Again, this is going to be really good for burn decks because you don't have to play Eruption to burn them. And it's in a card, it's an effect you can use every turn. You can use it once a turn. But again, say you have limited spirits. Say you only have 4 spirits left and they have 5. You're going to play the 2 eruptions that are in your hand. That brings them down to 1. Then you're going to use this guy's effect. Just ditch the other eruption. Burn them to win the game. Now we're on to water, and we have Sluggle, Champion of Poseidon, a 1/3. The other one's a 2/2, so I do like this stat better, just for defensive purposes. When this Sluggle receives 1 or more water with Poseidon's effect, you can special ascend it to this Sluggle to Globby from your hand or deck. So again, you could do either Globby. In that scenario, if you're doing the base set, you're going to have 1 spirit on this. Poseidon's effect to Nexus over will bring you to 2. When you ascend, you're putting a third spirit on it. That Globby's effect is when you have 3 or more water, you can special ascend it to your Majesty from hand or deck. So we'll go over the next Ascension Globby in a second for this set. But again, getting Majesty out turn 1. Now you got Globby. See, he's over there swimming around Trident and Poseidon. It is a 5/8. I think the other one's a 5/8 as well, so not too bad. When you cast this Globby, you can search your deck for an Atlantis or Rise from the Depths and add it to your hand. Again, Stadium Worms are going to be pretty strong in this next coming set, and so is bringing cards back from the Underworld, which Rise of the Depths is going to let you do that. It lets you bring back a 1-cost Water Celestial if you have Atlantis on field. We're going to go over Majesty, 6/14. I believe the other one's a 6/14, 3-cost water. While Poseidon's enchanted, and this Majorca is in attack position, or Majesty, sorry, spirits enchanting Elestrals are water instead of their original element. So the first thing I see for that is everything on your opponent's field would be misenchanted. The downside is Tsunami would be useless. Next effect, you can return up to 2 water spirits from your Underworld to your spirit deck if this Majesty is in defense position. So I do want to point out some shenanigans here. It has an attack position effect and a defense position effect that can be used each and every turn. So, for instance, I'm going to bring Majesty out turn 1. I'm going to make sure it's in defense mode. I'm going to heal 2 water spirits. Next turn, they summon something. I'm going to do PTA, burn 2 water. My turn starts. Activate the effect to heal 2 water. Switch this into attack mode. Now I'm going to go ahead and activate its secondary effect. Say your opponent attacks into it. Go ahead and play Altar of Stars. Switch Majesty to defense. Your turn starts. Heal 2 water. Never-ending water recovery. Veritaqua, 4/3. The other one's a 3/1, so much better stats. When this Veritaqua receives 1 or more water in a Nexus from Poseidon, you can special ascend to Veritaqua or Javalantis from your hand or deck. So ascending to the old Veritaqua, which wouldn't be too bad, or even another one of these, or Javalantis. Javalantis is pretty cool because I think it's when it destroys a defense position Celestial, they burn 3. We'll go over the next Javalantis in a second, but the first Veritaqua just destroys defense position Celestials. It suppresses, destroys. So depending on what shenanigans you're going to do, I'm not going to lie, I can't think of much else other than that, other than add spirits to an Celestial. But again, it's just a good way to load spirits, load Elestrals on field. Again, you're going to have 1 spirit on this. You're going to go ahead and Nexus from Poseidon, so it's at 2. Ascend to either of those cards, which now has 3 spirits. If your opponent's low enough, you could actually win the game right there. Next up is Javalantis, Champion of Poseidon. 8/3. The other one I think is a 6/3, so better stats. When you cast Tsunami, you can special ascend this Javalantis. You can special ascend this Javalantis in your hand from one of your water Elestrals. So again, there is a Tsunami and there's a titled Tsunami High Tide. So there's 6 cards that you can play to bring this guy out. Your water enchanted Elestrals deal piercing damage while Poseidon is enchanted. So again, you could go ahead and, like I said, load up the first Javalantis. You can use its effect to bring out another Javalantis, or Veritaqua to bring out another Veritaqua or another Javalantis. Then play Tsunami, even High Tide. Bring this guy out, piercing damage. Hypothetically having 4 or 5 spirits on it just to deal massive damage to your opponent. Galaxy, Champion of Poseidon. I am actually excited for this because I feel like this is better stat, like a better effect than the other one. Because the other one, it's non-negotiable. It's activating your flipping water celestial stats. The best part about this one, it's all stats. When this Galaxy receives 1 or more water, you can swap each Elestral's attack and defense until the next turn. So again, you don't have to, and this will partner up great with the normal Galaxy. The good way to say it about this, you can go ahead and use that swap effect, go ahead and destroy cards. The one thing about this, if I'm correct about the way Elestrals does effects, because the normal Galaxy, the biggest out is Spectaris. Every time Spectaris attacks an Elestral, it suppresses, and then it actually gains an attack. So it would shut off the other Galaxy's effect. Because of the way this one is worded, I believe that stat swap lasts until the end of the turn. It does say until next turn. So you could, in fact, bring out this Galaxy, use its effect, and now that Spectaris would be a 2/4, and this would be a 5/2, and that effect would not shut off, and you can actually attack into that Spectaris. In general, though, anything your opponent has that's defensive, you can go ahead and play this and easily work around it. And again, partner with your normal Galaxy, you can go ahead and have 2 5s on field. If you need to do a receive effect to switch something off, you can. And the art's just so much nicer. Let's go Narpoon, Champion of Kione. I'm super excited about this combo. 4-2. The other one's a 4-3, so again, not too bad. You can Nexus Water or Frost. When this Narpoon receives one or more Frost, you can special ascend it to Whale Lance from your hand or deck. The normal Whale Lance, as you guys know, when it destroys an opponent's Celestial in battle, you can search your opponent's deck and grab every card that has the same name and go ahead and toss it to the underworld. That's going to be very prominent moving forward for Firestorm because there are so many titled Elestrals and they're going to be playing the normal Elestrals as well. If Whale Lance pops off, you could take upwards of what? 5 or 6 Elestrals, 5 Elestrals from their deck and toss them to the underworld depending on what state of the game is and how early you play it. The new Whale Lance, though, is, to me, it's a game ender. You play this card when you're about to win the game. Champion of Kione. 7-5. I think the other one is a 6-5. Don't quote me on that. When this Whale Lance deals piercing damage. When this Whale Lance declares an attack, you can Nexus up to 4 Frost from any number of cards on your field. Your opponent has 3 or 4 spirits left. You're about to go ahead and I'm going to win the game right now. I'm going to go ahead and declare an attack with this. If I have 3 to 4 Frost spirits on field, they all go to this guy, and then you attack that Elestral. They've been trying to stall you with Ash Rabbit. Cool, I'm going to hit over it, and all I'm going to hit over it, I'm going to deal 5 damage to that. Win me the game. This is a card that if you can make sure your opponent doesn't have a back row, even Helios's Chariot Ride. Play Helios's Chariot Ride beginning of the turn, bring this guy out. You're going to deal massive damage to your opponent. It's going to disrupt anything that they're trying to plan. Harpy, this is Plucky's Nexus form. So 2-3, your Elestrals cannot be attacked except for this Harpy. So it's just like Fun Guide. When this Harpy is destroyed in battle, you can draw 2 cards if you have a Divine Rune on your field. So this one can be teched into other decks, but is mainly going to be with your Poseidon deck. Go ahead, cool, this thing's going to get destroyed. I'm healing 2 cards, and I protected one of my other Elestrals that's on field. Elechick, Champion of Zeus. Thundercasters, we're here. We're ready. 3-1. Normal Elechick's a 4-1, so very similar. When this Elechick declares an attack, you give it +1 attack for each Thunder, enchanting each Zeus on your field until the next turn. Hypothetical. I have 2 Zeuses out. They each have 4 spirits. This thing's going to gain 8 attack. A 1-cost 11 attacker? Please. Add to that, go ahead and use Zeus's effect. If you have both of them out, you're going to lower that by 6. This thing's going to be a 9 attack, taking down a Penterror. Let me be very clear about this, guys. If you have this Elechick out, and each Zeus has 3 on it, that's going to be +6, bringing it to a 9. If they have the 4, both used on Penterror, Penterror's a 15, goes down to a 9 attack. Elechick is going to crash into a freaking Penterror, unless Mount Olympus is on field. Add to that scenario. Mount Olympus is out, go ahead, now it's a 10 attack, it attacks a Penterror, it beats a damn Penterror. I am completely for this. I am so ready. Thunder is going to take off. This is exactly what Thunder's been needing this entire time. Most Thunder decks right now, I mean, I run Thunder. I love Thunder. I think I did okay in the tournament in Dallas. I did 5-3, so obviously not the best. Thunder does not have the it factor as much as the other elements do anymore. Like Lunar, for instance, prime example. It does not have the Lunar aggro build. The highest celestial attack that we have at a 1 cost is 4. With Stadium, it's a 5. Most things are going to beat over that 4. I can't tell you how many times that I've had Toxion, Jolton out. You know, they're a 5 with Stadium, and my opponent plays Sorrel at Misenchanted. Now it's a 6 they beat over. So this right here is going to make it so Thunder's going to be a little more aggro. Again, if you can protect this until the next turn, every turn, you know, I mean, you're going to have Thunder on your Zeus to power it up, and then you can use this effect to lower your opponent. Add to that Divine Healing. If you only have 1 Zeus on field, let's go ahead and Divine Healing. Have up to, what, 6 spirits on it at one time? 7 spirits? Cool, this guy's a 10 attack now. I'm completely for this card. That being said, Griffew's Champion of Zeus. 6-3, the other one I think is or 6-2, the other one's a 6-3, so a little bit weaker. This Griffew's in your hand can special ascend from your Champion of Zeus, but cannot be misenchanted this way. When you cast this Griffew's, you can give all your opponent's Elestrals -3 attack until the next turn. So it just says Champion of Zeus. It does not have to be Elechick. So you could, in fact, there's a couple cards coming up that are more champions. You could ascend those champions to this guy, give everything -3. Now your Elechick's going to be that much stronger, and so is your Griffew's. Add to that Zeus's effect to lower on its own. again, do massive damage to your opponent. Attack over super strong elestrals. Full Tempest, Champion of Zeus, 14-7. The other one I think is a 13-10, so I don't mind the weaker defense. I do like that it has a higher attack. When your Champion of Zeus is destroyed in battle, you can special cast this Full Tempest from your hand with 2 Thunder, 1 Wind if your Zeus is enchanted and you control no elestrals. Again, Sacrificial Lamb, guys. If my opponent if it's that close to the end of the game or they have something super strong, they have Centaur out, you know what? You're going to take 2 spirits and damage. You're going to go ahead and cost you 3 to play this guy, but you can get over the Centaur is my main thing. Or even if the stadium's on field, you can crash into that Centaur. I'm for it. It's expensive. It is very expensive, but again, if you're running Quackles to heal, if you're running Ambrosia's Divine Healings, it's not going to feel as bad because you can use those spirits to play further cards. Fulgaris, Champion of Zeus, 3-3. I think the other one's a 2-3, which the other one to me sucks. Just saying it. I've never played the other Fulgaris. I'm not going to. You can disenchant Thunder from your Zeus in order to target and destroy a face-down rune. If you do, you give this Fulgaris +2 attack until the next turn. So again, you're going to go ahead, pop a card. It becomes a 5 attacker. That's not as bad. It is better than the other one. The other one is you have to have enchanting Thunder Runes on field for it to gain an attack, which just doesn't feel right. Next up, we have Titanostrike, Champion of Zeus. I will tell you, I got to actually play this card at Dallas. They did have the starter decks out, so people can actually start getting some practice with them. It is a 4/4, so decent stats. When you cast this Titanostrike, you can search your deck for a Thunderstorm and add it to your hand. Again, if you're playing Brontoglow and the Funglow, that entire deck, you now have a searcher for your Thunderstorm. Or if you even have the other Titanostrike, when you cast Thunderstorm, expend Thunder to pop an Elestral, so you can partner those together. Spark It, Champion of Escape from Tartarus. This is my champion. I'm happy he's back. Again, you kind of see the mountains around it by the looks of it, and then the hands trying to catch them. So the other one was a 4-2 or 4-1, which stated you can Nexus. When you did, you can grab a card. I think it was 1 card from your opponent's hand at random, toss it. So this one is when you normal cast this Spark It, you can look at up to 2 random cards from your opponent's hand and discard 1 of them. Again, you're actually getting to see the 2 cards, and you're going to disrupt your entire opponent's gameplay. You can Nexus up to 2 Thunder. So you still get Nexus Thunder, so it's not just Magnaros anymore, but then you also get that discard effect, which is just going to hurt your opponent immediately. You know, you cast this and they play Gorgon's Gaze. Cool. You're ditching 2 spirits for a 3 attacker. I'm for it. Ankylo Shock. So this one's pretty cool. Everyone I talked to seemed pretty excited. 2/4. So again, typical Thunder fashion, 4 stats. This Ankylo Shock gets +3 attack for each Earth enchanting it. So you might be saying, Chris, why are we talking about Earth? The Ascension does have Earth on it. When this Earth Enchanted Ankylo Shock deals damage to an opponent, you can special send it to Ankylo Surge from your hand or deck. So at the beginning, you're going to play this more defensively, but then you go ahead and get Earth Spirit on it. You'll be good to go. Earth Nexus, this is going to be a really nice tech-in. Honestly, to me, instead of Astro Rabbit, because of the Ascension's effect. I do know, I think it was Helen was saying she wants to put this in her Centaur deck, so she's cooking something. I'm not exactly sure what. The other way scenario you can do is if you have Stadium on field, you have full Life Force, you could just play this thing with Earth, protect it for a turn, enchant it with Thunder, and then activate the effect from there and go ahead and try to do some damage. Now you got Ankylo Surge, which I do love this art. 6/8, decent stats, very good defense stat, and the very first Thunder Earth that Elestrals is introduced. You can draw a card for each Thunder Earth enchanting this Ankylo Surge, then discard that many cards. So just by itself, you're going to go ahead, draw 2, ditch 2. It's the same thing as Cold Magma, but on a much broader scale. Again, this is a card you're thinning your deck to find that ace to win you the game. So for Helen, for instance, it would be to try to find your Centaur. Sorlet, Champion of Aeolus. He is a sleepy boy. 4/3, not bad stats. When this Sorlet destroys an Celestial in battle, you can search your deck for an Aeolus or Champion of Aeolus and add it to your hand. So again, you're going to go ahead and destroy an opponent's Celestial in battle. You can search for either one of those cards. Good for your Divine Searcher. Very good for Champions of Aeolus. So you're going to see in the next card why this card is going to be, I think, in almost every win deck moving forward. And that's Chrysor, Champion of Aeolus, which is a 7/3. The reason why this works out, and this has been completely confirmed by Elestrals, this Chrysor in your hand can special ascend from your Sorlet with Wind during battle phase if that Sorlet destroys an Elestral in battle this turn. Listen to me carefully when I say use the new Sorlet's effect. It's going to destroy an Elestral. It's going to go ahead and search for a champion of Alis. If you choose this card, you ascend it immediately. Let me be clear. You can use a 4-body, destroy an Elestral, and then summon a 7-body immediately. That being said, it just says from your Sorlet. It doesn't have to be a champion Sorlet. So to a degree, if you already have this in hand, you can attack with your stronger Sorlet, activate this guy's effect, bring this out. Go ahead and use the weaker Sorlet, destroy an Elestral, activate that effect to draw another Crysaor, play that Crysaor. There is a scenario that you could have 2 of these 7-attacker Crysaurs on the field in one go. Galax Air, Champion of Alis. I love this art. Both the Galax in this set are absolutely gorgeous. It is a 1/3 super weak, but the effect is what makes it good. When you add this Galax Air to your hand, you can, with your Alis's effect, you can special cast it with Wind. So again, Alis is known for that toolbox effect to search your deck and grab a card. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Galax Air, immediately cast it. If I have another Elestral on the field, ascend them both into Pantera. Ascend them both into Crysaor. Dracodoodle, whatever you guys wanted to do. But this, again, we're talking about this entire set flooding the field. This is going to flood the field to get your 2 and 3 drops out. And honestly, my biggest hope moving forward when we do get the Firestorm, I hope it's not as counter rune heavy. With so many cards having to do with the Divines and all these combos, I do feel like we are going to drop down on counter runes, which for me personally, I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see these bigger combos pop off. Now we got Carry On, Champion of Hermes. It's a 3/1. The other one's a 3/3, so again, slightly weaker. When this Carry On is sent from your deck to the Underworld with your Hermes effect, you can special cast it from your Underworld using Wind from either your Spirit deck or your Underworld. Hermes effect, we will get to that here in a little bit, but basically is you're going to take a Elestral from your deck and toss it to the Underworld. A couple of them do have additional effects, so you can actually use that. But in this scenario, Carry On becomes a free card, which lets you ascend. You can go ahead and use this combo to bring out your normal carry off. You can bring out your champion carry off. Whatever scenario you guys wanted to do. Again, just a quick casting. I love how it's just a quick cast. Now you got Carry Off, Champion of Hermes. This is an 8/2. The other one is a 5/3. So we do have yet again another 2-drop weak to Cryoblast. Which that's the other scenario you're going to have to look at is the way these new decks are going to be set up. I don't think you're going to see Cryoblast as much. It's going to be harder to tech those kind of cards in with all these different divine combos you're going to be doing. You can shuffle an Elestral in your Underworld to your deck. When this Carry Off is sent to the Underworld with Hermes effect, you can target an Elestral and expend 1 spear equal to the number of its enchanting spirits to destroy it. The issue with this card is it becomes very expensive. If you do that, say you're targeting a Pantera, it's going to burn you 3. Say you're up against Frost Nexus, and me personally, I've gone up the Frigid Cubs that had 6 spirits on it. It'll cost you 6 to destroy it, Chivalry, etc. So just be prepared, that's going to get expensive. And it's whenever you ditch this thing with Hermes effect. So, but then at the same time, with its own effect, you can shuffle it into your from your Underworld to your Spirit deck. So you could use that you could use the combo, destroy something, then activate Carry Off's effect and send it right back. Cockadoodle, Champion of Hermes. It is a 4/1. The normal one is a 4/2, so again, similar. When this Cockadoodle is sent from your field or deck to the Underworld, you can suppress a card on the field until the next turn. That's going to be very good with the suppression decks, especially if you're trying to run the Necrolith. That's going to go really good with that. You have Dracodoodle, Champion of Hermes, 6/2. The other one's a 7/3, I believe. When this Cockadoodle is sent from your Underworld, you can special cast this Dracodoodle from your Underworld with 2 Wind Spirits. You may only play 1 Dracodoodle this way each turn. This Dracodoodle gets +2 for each suppressed card on the field. So again, it's going to compare really well with that suppression aspect with Artemis and with Necrolith. And again, using Cockadoodle's effect to suppress something and then bringing this guy out automatically jumps it up to an 8. Exaltair, Champion of Hermes, 3/1. This Exaltair cannot be destroyed in battle the turn you special cast it from your Underworld. While your Hermes is enchanted, this Exaltair, I'm sorry guys, this Exaltair gets +3 attack. So again, it's going to be a 6-body on field. The reason why it says when it's cast from Underworld, there is a card coming up that you guys will see that will partner up great with this. But again, able to get a 6 on field, and then that turn, it can't be destroyed in battle, which feels great. You have the Nimbug. What's up, Nimbugs? 2 attack, 1 defense. When you normal cast this Nimbug, you search your deck for a Foley Forest, a Charcoon, or Flame Moth and add it to your hand. We do have a new Foley Forest, which we'll be going over later on, and there is a titled Foley Forest that was added to the set. But with the new Flame Moth, I forget what Charcoon does, but with the new Flame Moth, this is just so much better. Charcoon, it is a 2/6. This card always counts as Circoon. You can nexus up to 2 spirits of any combination of fire, wind. When this Charcoon is destroyed by an opponent's rune effect, the opponent must expend a spirit for each spirit that's enchanting this Charcoon. It's a bomb, guys. Just straight up, it's a bomb. Every turn, load spirits on it. If you're able to have some kind of protection with it, like say Golden Fleece, so it takes them twice to destroy it, it's going to sit there until it's ready to explode. Somehow, some way, your opponent will have to get this on field. Or scenario is you have so many spirits on this, your opponent can't do anything. You could go ahead and just ascend it to do a massive attack. You have the brand new Flame Moth, brand new stats. This one is a 8/4. I think the other one was a 9/4, 9/5. So your opponent's Elestrals get -1 attack and defense for each Nimbug and Charcoon in the Underworld, which I like that a lot more because you're lowering your opponent's entire field versus Stratomoth, for instance, only powered up by your Nimbugs and your Saracoons. You can destroy a Foley Forest on your field. If you do, destroy all cards on the field except for Flame Moth. So again, you're going to have either Foley Forest, whichever you want to do, but use Charcoon, load up that bomb, ascend it to this guy, use its effect, pop everything on field, dealing massive damage to your opponent. Kite Mite, the new Wormmite on Nexus form, 1/4 is weak defense, but that's fine. You can disenchant wind from this Kite Mite in order to special cast a Wormmite or Frostmite from your deck. Let me be clear about this. The new Spiders deck is broken. If the combo pops off like it should, it is completely broken. So as of right now, you can have up to 6 Wormmites in your deck that all have to do with lowering your opponent's Elestrals on field. Frostmite is going to lower the defense of your opponent's Celestial on field. So you're able to disenchant wind from this Kite Mite every turn. My thought process is, instead of casting that turn, okay, cool, I'm going to go ahead and re-enchant it with wind, expend wind, go ahead and bring out whichever bug I need and start dealing massive damage to my opponent, just wiping their field. Watching Dan play this deck, every turn he was removing Elestrals on field, and he was still running 2 to 3 Elestrals continuously. Next up, you got Pararachne. Very simple effect. This Pararachne can be normal cast with 2 wind if Arachne's Lair is enchanted. Again, 2 drop, 6 attack, just summon it as long as you got Stadium, that's fine. Scout, Champion of Kione. You're not going to see the other Frost Bears. I apologize now, guys. Kione will have her time coming up in one of the next 2 sets. It is not this one. Right now, it is just strictly for Hermes and for Hestia with some side stuff in there. 2/4, I believe the other one's a 2/4 as well. You can target a face down rune. It cannot be played as long as this Scout is enchanted. This effect can be activated 1 additional time on your turn if you also disenchant Earth from your Kione. Let me be clear about something, guys. Running this card in a bear deck is going to be good just to shut down the back row. Add this into your Frost deck. In 1 turn, you can shut off 2 back rows. They can't play it as long as this thing's on field. Have Stadium, this thing's a 5 defense. Have counter runes, you can protect it. Next turn, do the same thing. Shutting off your opponent's entire back row. This is one of the reasons why I say I don't think counter runes are going to be as prominent moving forward, because it's just not going to be good. If you're able to shut all those cards off, and that doesn't even mention cards like Chelotl that we still have not seen which, in most tournaments and most gameplay. Chelotl is you can just take 2 back row and freeze them when you cast it. So again, partnering both of those cards up, shutting off the back row, as long as you can protect those cards, you're golden. Broomalinx, Champion of Kione. 4/2, not bad. When you cast this Broomalinx, you can search your deck for Mountains of Boreas or a Blizzard and add it to your hand. So you do have a Stadium Searcher now, and it has the same stats as Jolton, so now you don't need to tech in those Thunder Spirits. The reason why it's awesome to see Blizzard is you're going to see over the next 2 cards, Blizzard decks are going to be freaking ridiculous. And the first is Frigicub. You can return a Blizzard from your Underworld to your hand. Simple, very simple. Cast Blizzard, pop a face down. Can't be countered, by the way, that Blizzard. Go ahead, use Frigicub, get it back, pop another face down. That's not going to be, that. I know that doesn't seem too crazy, but with the Shiver Roar effect, it's going to make it even better. And then also using the other Frigicubs. If you're running 2 of these and one of the normal Frigicub, go ahead and next up the 2 Frost when you do enchant Frost from Underworld to that Frigicub. After a couple times, your Blizzards just become free Blizzards. You have Shiver Roar, 7/5. You can expend Frost in order to special cast a Frigicub from your Underworld with Frost. When you cast Blizzard, you can target and destroy an Elestral. Again, let me be clear. Have Frigicub out, any Frigicub. Let's just say the one that uses Blizzard, okay? I'm going to start my turn. I'm going to grab Blizzard back. Next up, I'm going to ascend it, Shiver Roar into it. I'm going to go ahead and cast Blizzard right there and there. Pop a face down on field. Then with that effect, destroy an Elestral. Now with this guy's effect, I'm going to go ahead and expend a Frost Spirit to bring a Frigicub back. Now I'm going to grab Blizzard back. If this combo pops off, guys, it will shut down your opponent's field. Everyone sits there and goes, Guys is that game ender. Posthumous is a game ender. Frigicub is a damn game-ending card, guys. It's going to be freaking ridiculous. Shout out to Eclipse Moonglow. He's a big Frost enjoyer. I can't imagine to see the combos he pops off of this. Bunnix, their cutest boy. 4/4 decent stats. You can expend Frost in order to search your deck for up to 2 Nyx Mera. Then send 1 to your Underworld and other to your hand. There's a reason for that, and it is going to be completely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Are you ready? Nyx Mera Risen form. 7/4 Lunar Solar. You can expend Frost in order to target and destroy a face-down rune. Awesome. Destroy that Gorgon's Gaze, destroy the Tsunami. During your end phase, you must either send this Nyx Mera to the Underworld or special ascend it to Nyx Mera Fallen form from your hand, deck, or Underworld. I'm sure you guys can imagine the next form, the Fallen form, is going to do something very similar. This combo lets you add a Spirit to the Elestral every single turn, not to mention your normal cast for that turn, and continuously activate these effects. Let's look at Fallen form. 4/7, the stats are complete opposite, and this time it's using Lunar. This Nyx Mera cannot be targeted by Invoke runes, which includes your own, by the way. Just keep that in mind. But your opponent cannot Earthquake it. They can't Resting on your Laurels. They can't, Cryoblast Frost anyway, but they're not destroying us. They're not. During your opponent's end phase, you must either send this Nyx Mera to the Underworld or special cast Risen form from your hand, deck, or Underworld. So every single turn, you're flipping it back and forth. If you can get Bunny out on field again, and if you can get the other form out, every single turn you can bring 2 Risen, 2 Fallen. It is going to be expensive long term because of all those spirits on field. But again, on your opponent's turn, this guy's protected from Inrook. On my turn, I can go ahead and pop a face down on field. If you have 2 of them out, you're popping 2 face down. So I'm all for this. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays off. Just thinking of Frost Elestrals, like say Blizztrix, everyone thought Blizztrix was the most OP thing. We're now starting to see that it is very cost heavy and you're gambling. This to me is a new Frost variant of a card that there's not much gambling involved. And a 7 defense is going to be hard for your opponent to get over. Again, that's a scenario they're going to have to ascend into something to beat this. Cool, on my turn, I have a 7 attacker now. If I can boost it, if I can destroy an opponent's Celestial on field, they're not going to be able to get an advantage over me. Soul Bell, Champion of Apollo. I do like the P-Gleam sitting on his head. It looks like you can see Soul Stalks with Apollo in the background. 1 attack, 4 defense. When the Soul Bell is foretold, you can, with Apollo's effect, you can special cast it with Solar. So again, you're going to play Apollo, activate the effect to bring this guy out. And if you want to ascend into Soul Stalks that right away, Luster gone. If you're going to go Foliferos, which I do think is going to get some play in the near future, even if I have to do it myself, we'll see. Soul Stalks, Champion of Apollo. Now you can see that you have the Foliferos sitting on his back. 6/6, very decent stats. When you cast the Soul Stalks, you can search your deck for a Soul Ball and put it on the top of your deck. You can expend Solar in order to return a Divine Rune to the owner's hand. Let's go over that first effect first. Go ahead and bring this guy out or have it on the field. Use its effect, put a Soul Bell on top of the deck, use Apollo, foretell, bring another card out, ascend into something else. The secondary effect, expend to return a Divine Rune to the owner's hand. My first thought when I heard this was, cool, Zeus and Demeter, go away. Artemis, go away. The other additional card, the other thing that people aren't really considering is Apollo. You're Apollo. You know, most of the time you're running 3 or 4 Apollo on that. Go ahead, when it has 1 spirit left, use Soul Stalks, return it to my hand. That same turn, recast it with 3 to 4 spirits. I'm for it. I'm completely for it. Now you have Exaltus, Champion of Apollo. When an Elestral on your field is destroyed in battle, you can special cast this Exaltus from your hand with Solar. This Exaltus gets +3 attack if you foretold this turn. So again, foretell every turn. Bump this guy up to a 6. Go ahead and start attacking over stuff. Plucky, Champion of Apollo. Plucky got some love too. 1/3, so it is 1 defense weaker. When you normal cast this Plucky, you can search your deck for a Lyre of Apollo and add it to your hand. When you cast a Solar rune, you can return Solar from your Underworld to your Spirit deck. That's going to matter in a couple, like when a couple of the runes we're going to see. The Lyre of Apollo is game changer. It is complete game changer. We will go over that later on, but it's going to flip. Let's just put it this way. The normal water galaxy, not an issue. Werepup, Champion of Artemis. It is a 3/2, same exact stats as the other Werepup. You can special send this Werepup to Like a Void from your hand or deck, and if the opponent has at least 2 suppressed cards. So first off, that's either Like a Void, the new one, or the old one, doesn't matter. When this Werepup is destroyed in battle, you can suppress a card on your opponent's field until the next turn. So again, if you've already suppressed something on your opponent's turn, you have 2 of these Werepups out. Go ahead, use one as a sacrificial lamb. Now you have 2 cards suppressed. Go ahead and bring out a Like a Void. Like a Void, Champion of Artemis, a 6/5. So much nicer than the other one. I love any 2-drop that has at least 3 defense or higher. Automatically is a plus in my book. When you cast this Like a Void, you can special cast any number of Werepup from your deck with Lunar suppressed. So they are completely suppressed as long as they're on the field at that point. I do 100% think that we'll have cards in the future that will unsuppress stuff. As far as I know, it's not coming out anytime soon, but we'll find out. You can destroy a suppressed Celestial on your field if you do destroy a suppressed Celestial on your opponent's field. So again, that partners up with the Werepup. When it's destroyed, you can suppress a card. That partners up with the Artemis, your Dense Fog, whichever scenario you guys want to go. Pandalence, Champion of Artemis. Same stats as the normal Pandalence. When one or more Elestrals become suppressed, or when a player plays an Elestral suppressed, your opponent must expend 1. So again, activate Artemis, you're going to get suppressed. Activate Gorgon's Gaze, you're going to get suppressed. Activate Dense Fog, you're getting suppressed. Like a Void, Werepup, whatever. You know, I mean, you can even go Cockadoodle if you're running with the wind elements. Cockadoodle, use its effect, suppress. Dracodoodle, expend a wind to suppress your opponent's entire Elestral row, expend again. I just want to double check one thing. So also just want to point out though, like if you're doing the Dracodoodle effect, which expend wind, suppress all your opponent's Celestial, they're only going to burn 1 spirit at that point. So you do want to space stuff out as you go to deal maximum damage to your opponent. Spectaris, Champion of Artemis. And Titan is going to be good. 4/2. This Spectaris can be special cast from your hand with Lunar if your opponent has at least 1 suppressed card. So the reason why I bring up Antitan, the whole way to get Antitan out the fast track way, the turbo way, is play Ardbud, destroy an insect on field, one of your insects, and then go ahead and bring out Ardvarm. Ardvarm's effect is you can go ahead and destroy one of your insects, bring out Antitan. The one thing I do want to point out about the first 2 is when you cast them, you grab an insect. So again, I'm going to play Ardbud, grab this Spectaris. Say my opponent has a suppressed card. Now I'm special casting the Spectaris. Disenchant Spectaris with Ardbud's effect, bring out Ardvarm, grab another Spectaris. Play that Spectaris. You guys see what I'm trying to say. You can get Antitan out with 1 turn. It's expensive. All these new combos are going to be expensive, but again, to get big bodies out and again, swarm the field, pun intended, it's going to be great moving forward. We have Nemistar. This was a complete surprise to me, this Ascension line, and I'm for it. 1 attack, 4 defense. You can Nexus up to 2 Lunar. An Elestral that receives Luna this way can attack your opponent's Spirit deck directly. So again, go ahead and play this Nemistar, Nexus 2 Lunar to it. It has 3 attack directly, deal 3. The next one, Terrastar, 4 or 5/7, which is huge. You can Nexus up to 3 Lunar. When a player Nexuses, an opponent must expend a Spirit for each Spirit that a card receives in that Nexus. So again, you can go ahead and use this effect. You're going to burn your opponent for 3 and then hopefully attack over that opponent, dealing more damage. All right, we're on to the runes, guys. We are almost over. If you're still watching, thank you. Make sure you guys like and comment down below. Hestia, your newest divine. When you cast this Hestia, you can enchant up to 3 fire to it. You can disenchant 2 fire from Hestia in order to special cast a 1 spirit fire elestral from your hand with fire if your opponent controls the same amount of elestrals as you or more. This works if neither person has spirits or elestrals on field. I did get clarification on that. The reason why I like this combo is, and I talked about Cap Perfume. Cap Perfume is a 2 cost. It says expend fire, special cast a 1 cost fire from your hand. So my thought process is you can use this card, bring out a Smoky. Smoky's effect when special cast, draw 2 cards. Ascend that into Cap Perfume. Go ahead and expend a fire, bring out, say your Necrough. Now you got 2 bodies on field, you're attacking over. I'm for it. I'm for it. Again, this is just a way to flood the field. If your opponent's in the driver's seat and you're hurting a little bit, at least with Hestia, and if you have 2 elestrals in hand, you can go ahead and start getting some kind of front row going, some kind of stable base going. Torch of Hestia, one of my favorite cards. The Empowered Elestral gets +2 attack. We finally have a 1 cost artifact that powers up by 2, and I'm all for it. When the Empowered Elestral declares an attack, you can foretell 3. Just right there alone, you're going to foretell 3. You can see what you need to do coming forward. On board. With Hestia on field, if Hestia is enchanted, you may add a fire card foretold this way to your hand. If it's Eruption, if it's another Hestia, if it's one of your champions of Hestias, whatever, as long as it has fire in it, you can go ahead and grab that card. Hestia's Hearth. So we were talking about this before with the Wormite. Enchant fire from your underworld to a card on your field. So the thought process there is play your Wormite, play Hestia's Heart. You're going to add another fire to it. So in that turn, you're going to lower your opponent's attack elestrals by 6. Then if that card was a Hestia or a champion of Hestia, you can enchant an additional fire from your underworld to it. So again, in one turn, if you only are playing 1 Hearth, in one turn, your Wormite will drop an opponent's elestrals attack down by 9, which is just completely surreal. Which also, too, with the Wormite's effect, you'll heal, too, whenever you play the Hearth. Anvil of Hephaestus. Hephaestus gets a 2nd artifact rune. The Empowered Elestral gets +1 attack. I'm fine with that. When an artifact rune on your field is sent to the underworld, you can enchant each of those spirits to this artifact from your underworld. Or to a card on field, sorry. Again, just constant healing, constant recycling of the underworld. That is one theme that you're seeing with these Hephaestus cards. You're just constantly reusing those spirits over and over again. Which in a game like this that only has 20 spirits able to recycle that is just amazing. Arachne's Lair, very simple effect. When you play one of those 6 spiders, you get to draw a card. So again, as I was saying, I was watching Dan use this deck, and every turn he was playing a bug, draw a card. Special cast a bug, draw a card. This also has to do when your opponent plays the same cards as well. You're going to go ahead and draw a card. Foliage Forest, Burning Woods, and you guys can see the Flammoth right there, and all the Earth Elestrals are kind of running for their lives. It is a stadium, 1 cost fire, and opponents must also expend 2 spirits in order to play stadium runes. So this doesn't do much for you, minus Flammoth's effect, but it does shut your opponent off from playing theirs because it's going to cost them 2 spirits to play it. If you're running 2 or 3 of these and you're playing Stadium Wars, your opponent is literally going to be burned for this. Reforge. I'm so happy for this card. Shout out to Bo, who loves using artifacts. I think he's going to get a lot of use out of this card. 1 cost fire, feels great. Return an artifact rune from your underworld to your hand. Awesome. For it. Secondary effect. Return spirits equal to that artifact rune's enchantment cost from your underworld to your spirit deck. If you are running artifacts, you're running 3 of these. That's why I'm saying counter runes are going to be taking a step back. I completely see decks that are going to run triple Argo, say 3 to 4, even 5 artifacts, 2 to 3 of these Reforge. Go ahead. I mean, I'd still play the Gorgons and the Shield or Shield PTA, whatever combo you want to do. But again, you're just constantly recycling spirits with this. These Hephaestus decks are going to be ridiculous. Poseidon's getting a new art, same exact effect. So and now we also got Poseidon's Fury. Disenchant any number of water from 1 or more of your Poseidons. An opponent disenchants the same amount of spirits from their field. So that's really cool to get rid of your opponent's Zeus or Demeter or Artemis. But then also too, if they have a 2-drop and you just need to get rid of it, play 1 Poseidon. Literally play Poseidon for 1. Activate this. They're going to have to go ahead and destroy that card. Zeus, same thing, got a new artwork for this. And you have Zeus's Call. 1 cost, invoke Thunder. This Zeus's Call can only be played if Zeus is enchanted. Search your deck for a champion of Zeus and add it to your hand. Again, we saw all the champions of Zeus. It's any number of combos you can do, especially if you want to play your Volt Tempest. Now we're going to have Hermes. So this is the first time we actually get to see Hermes effect. When you cast this Hermes, you can enchant up to 4 or 3 more to it, so a total of 4. You can disenchant 2 wind from this Hermes in order to search your deck for a wind celestial and send it to the underworld. You can now see the combos that we were talking about earlier, especially with the carry on. Use Hermes effect, ditch it, go ahead and bring it back for free. Carry off, you're going to go ahead and pop a card with that effect. Next up, you have the Caduceus of Hermes. I'm going to butcher these cards. Bear with me, guys. 1 cost wind artifact. When the Empowered Celestial is destroyed in battle, you can target another 1 cost Spirit Wind Celestial from your Underworld and special cast it. This is the card that's going to be used with Exalt Terror. Go ahead and play this on a card, sacrifice it to bring Exalt Terror out, hit over, just to make sure you can actually have a card until next turn. And again, with Exalt Terror's effect, it can't be destroyed in battle that turn. Next up, you have the Talaria of Hermes. So Hermes Shoes, 2 cost wind. The Empowered Celestial has +2 defense. When the Empowered Celestial is destroyed in battle, you can draw 2 cards. Then if Hermes is enchanted, you can search your deck for a Talaria or a Caduceus and add it to your hand, recycling those combos every single turn. Hermes Trickery. You can see the Trifernal back there, and him and Carry On are just, looks like they're hiding. 1 cost wind. It is a counter rune. This Hermes Trickery can only be played if Hermes is enchanted. Destroy an Celestial on your field. If you do, just special cast another Celestial from your Underworld using only spirits that were enchanting the destroyed Celestial. So to a degree, bear with me, to a degree, you can have one of your Celestials with 3 spirits, play Hermes Trickery, destroy it, and now bring out a Pantera if that was an Underworld. Sirocco of Nautis. So these next cards have to do with the Bag of Winds that Aeolus carries. It's the 4 winds in Greek mythology. So they're all counter runes, they're all wind counter runes. So the first one is Sirocco of Nautis. It is a wind fire. Until the next turn, players must expend 2 spirits in order to declare an attack with an celestial that is not wind or fire. So you're always playing on your opponent's field. Hopefully they don't have those type of spirits, and then you can go ahead and burn them for 2. If they're about to pop off on a combo that they can wipe out your entire field, you can play this card at the beginning of the battle step or the battle phase, and now they can't attack, and you're going to freeze them in their tracks. Next is the Monsoon of Eris. Wind, water. Enchant up to 2 spirits of any combination of wind and water to your field. Suppress each face-up card that is not wind or water until the next turn. I'm not going to lie, I'm trying to think of a good combo for this other than, like, say, Specterus. I was going to say Galaxy, but that does not shut off Galaxy. And you will notice all these cards, too, these 4 winds, all have a P-Gust feather flying around. I know when we saw the Firestorm logo, everyone thought P-Gust was getting a card. Sadly, it does not. Next up is the Mistral of Boreas. It is a Wind Frost. When this Mistral can only be played when an opponent plays an artifact rune or divine rune. Put that rune in the rune row face down. It cannot be played again this turn. So if I'm correct about this and how it's stated, if your opponent plays Zeus, you counter immediately. Otherwise, you can't play this card. It is before they load it up with the extra spirit. So just keep that in mind, guys. Same thing. Now, different with the artifact, they have to empower it to do it. But if you're going to use this against a divine, just keep that in mind. Breeze of Zephyros. It is Wind Solar. Nexus Wind Solar. If you do, you may give each Wind Solar Celestial on your field +2 attack and +2 defense until the next turn. Defensively or aggro, this is just a good card to have. This one's going to be very good if you're running the Tornigen deck. You already have the spirits in your deck anyway. Hibernation. Bear gets a lot of support right now. This Hibernation can only be played if you control a Bear Celestial and an Ursa Celestial. Target up to 2 Fire Frost spirits from your Underworld. Return them to your spirit deck or enchant them to your Ursa's Den if you do draw a card. Guys, you are getting Mama or Papa Bear out turn 1 with this card. Go ahead, you can, if you able to ditch spirits to the Underworld, go ahead, play Ursa's Den, play Hibernation, get the big boy out immediately. Completely for this. I have my bear deck built. I need to start looking exactly how I'm going to build it, but this is going to be nuts. The Lyre of Apollo. 1 cost artifact solar with a nasty effect. The empowered elestrals attack and defense are swapped. That includes Galaxy, guys. You can use this on Galaxy to flip it back. Secondary effect, all your champions of Apollo get +2 attack and defense. That's cool. That's the secondary effect. I honestly, whatever, don't care. Play this on soul stocks. The normal soul stocks. This is a 4/7, switch it to a 7/4. You can use this on Pharaohgeist, making it a 13 attacker. So on and so forth, guys. You can use this for Majesty, whatever you're going to do. Again, the +2 attack and defense, to me, it is what it is. But the fact that you can swap anyone's attack and defense, I'm completely for it. Solar Charged. Shout out, I think that's Phosphocell. Invoke 1 cost solar, enchant solar from your underworld to an celestial on field. So basically, it's a free card and gives you more Nexus bank if you're, say, playing Lustragon, or if you're using Soul Stocks and Apollo. You can go ahead and put it on the Lestron field. If you're able to Nexus that back to Apollo, it's just more cannon fodder for Apollo. And now your full arts, you do have Majursa walking with the Bears, all the Cubs. We have Torchin winning first place. You have Majesty, which it's epic. This is just dark. I love this card. As a Thundercaster, you got Voltempest. Zeus is sitting on his throne. He's got his Griffin right there waiting for him. Ankylo Surge, not bad. He's just hitting stuff with his tail, so that's fine. The Galaxair, champion of Aeolus. Again, you got Aeolus right here. Flying next to it, you got a bunch of Sorlets flying around. I thought there was something else back here, but I can't make it out right now. You have the Carry-Off. You have the Flammoth. So you guys might not be able to see it behind me, but I do have the Flammoth map behind me. That was only for playtesters, which sadly I'm not a playtester, but that's kind of cool that they went ahead and took that art from the playmat, or from this card, and turned it into a playmat. We have Parachne, a bunch of them just parachuting down ready to attack. The next 2 cards are not revealed yet. We will find them out probably over the next couple of days. Actually, one of them I have in my possession. It is the Nyx Mara Risen form. I don't think they do both. I honestly don't know, but we'll find out here in the next few days. You have Terra Star. See a couple of them flying around. You have Earthquake, full Earthquake, guys. So that is a Scavengem, and it was attacking a Titanostrike. We do have that confirmed. Hestia, which also, shout out, by the way, the fact that they use Scavacol, which is one of the few cards that actually searches Earthquake. If you guys read the text specifically, it lets you grab up to 2, 1 Earth, 2 Earth from your deck and add it to your hand. So this does search your Earthquakes. You got Hestia herself, does get a full art. Same thing with Eruption. I wasn't going to say Hermes, but we did get Eruption first. You got your Krakatukas, you got your Veratukas, they're flying around, but we did in fact get our full Eruption. Dan has this in his possession. He was running it in the Spiders deck. This thing is beautiful in person. Thunderstorm, which will matter, I guess, later on in future sets, I was told. That's why they made this one. But you see the Titanostrike, and you actually see the Ankylar, the little baby dinosaur sitting right there. You do have Hermes in all his glory with his Cadus and his Talaria. You do have all your Hollow Spirits, which are going to be the same as the beginning. That's a typical thing they've been doing. And lastly, you have your 4 box toppers. They did 4 this time. Also, shout out to Elestrals. They took everyone's advice. There are 4 box toppers now. Yeah, so that'd be 40 X out of 10s. Not anymore. They've now upped it to X out of 25s. So there will be 100 full art Stellars in Firestorm that you guys can get. You have Poseidon, or Majesty with Poseidon, sorry. You got your Voltempest. And then finally, you have your Carry-Off. Guys, I don't know about you, but I am super excited for Firestorm. I can't wait. It just sucks that we literally have just under 2 months. It comes out May 23rd, so 2 months from now. So I don't know what's going to go on from now till then. Especially reveals are almost over, but guys, hype season's here. Let's get ready for it. Me personally, going forward with this channel over the next few weeks, the next 2 months really, I'm going to be theory crafting decks, and I'm going to go ahead and post them on the channel. Shout out to the Law YGO, the GOAT. He is the Thunder GOAT. He carried the Thunder team on Season 3 of Elestriad. He made his own deck building website. As these cards are being released, guys, he is updating it daily. So as of right now, as this video, every single Firestorm card is on that website. So again, me personally, stay forward, guys. Watch the channel. I'll be having a bunch of deck builds going forward. If you're hyped for Firestorm, please go ahead, use my affiliate link in the description below. I do get a slight commission from that, so anything will help. It also proves that Elestrals was right to partner up with me, and shows that I'm doing the right thing. That being said, guys, my name is still Christoph, and I hope you guys all have a stellar day. We'll see you later.